Hello friend, this is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com. Today I want to talk to you about God's loving kindness is excellent and always toward you. Psalms 36 verse 7 says, "How excellent is thy loving kindness, O God! Therefore the children of men put their trust under the shadow of thy wings." And this got me thinking of years ago before I was a vegan. I had chickens, and there was this one hen who would take all the other chicks, all the other babies from the other hens, and try to put them under her. So sometimes she would have 20 or 30 chicks under her, and she was stretched out trying to lay as flat as she could with her wings outstretched, covering them all to protect them. And it was just so cute how she wanted to protect all these babies and have them all be her own. And the babies knew when they got scared of something and went running and hiding under her. They knew she would protect them. When you put your trust in God, you can know how excellent His loving kindness is. You can know of His goodness. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to fear. Now, one thing is you have to make sure you're doing the right things. You're living righteously. That's not only about morals. That's about daily life too. Your diet, your health, what you're doing, how you're doing things, your activity levels. There's all kinds of things that people wouldn't look at as moral issues, but they really affect the abundance of God you can experience in your life. Whether you're resisting God because you're not eating the right diet, so you're out of shape and you don't have energy, so you can't perform at the levels you should perform at, and then you can't get blessed the way you should be blessed because you're not doing the things you should be doing. It's kind of all goes together. It's all a fullness of your life, and you need to be living things in an excellent manner, doing the right things in the right way to get the right results that you want in life. God's never hindering. God's never holding back. God's never limited, except as you limit Him by your unbelief. And yes, not taking care of your physical body and not taking care of your daily activities and doing the things you should be doing, working the hours you should work, putting in the work you should be putting in, is not living righteously. People may give you a pass, and I'm not trying to put a burden on you. Jesus' burden is easy. His yoke is light. But here's the thing. You've been granted this great blessing, this gift of life. Graciously being given this experience of being a human being in this life. To live, to move, and to have your being in God. Why wouldn't you be doing the most you can? Why wouldn't you be using your time for the greatest productivity? You know, I heard a woman today, and she was very interesting because she was saying, she was doing an interview, and she mentioned how people told her, "Oh, you got to watch Netflix, you got to watch this and that." And she's like, "But it's boring to me. I would rather do something. I'd rather be working in my business than watching other people's work." Which is really interesting, because that's something I've said over and over again about being a producer, not being a consumer. There are people out there with that mentality. And as a Christian, you should have that mentality where you're trying to produce. You're trying to be a creator like your God. You're following in His footsteps. You're being an imitator of God. You're being a follower of God as a dear child. And you're trying to do things like He does. Because Jesus said, "Be ye therefore perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect." He is the standard. You want to follow God and be like Him. He gave you this ability, being created in His image and likeness, to create, to do things, to make and produce. Even animals do that. But so many humans who have this great gift of being in the image and likeness of God, and they squander it. They play video games, they watch videos, they watch TV and movies and listen to music and do all kinds of frivolous activities that don't produce results in their life. And then they want to blame God. They want to whine and wonder, "Well, why am I not experiencing the loving kindness of God? Why do I not see God's goodness in my life? Why is other people having these experiences? They don't even care about God. Why are they having..." But my friend, if you do the right things in the right way, you get the right result. An unrighteous man goes out and plants a seed in the ground, and he waters it, and he tends to it properly, he gets a harvest. If the righteous man takes that same seed, stores it away somewhere, and doesn't do anything with it, he gets no harvest. And of course, I would make the point that supposed righteous man that's squandering the seed is not really righteous because of the fact that he's not doing the things he should be doing with that seed. But that's a whole other story. God set up laws in the universe. He's not a respecter of persons. So you may look to someone who's unrighteous and you think, well, why are they getting these results? Why do they seem to have the blessing of God in their lives? Because, my friend, if they're doing the right things, they're going to get the right results. God's very merciful. He rains upon the just and the unjust alike. But you should have even more of that loving kindness in your life, even more of that blessing in your life. Knowing you can always go and you put your trust under the shadow of His wings. You can be there, be protected, be covered, be provided for in all areas of your life. There's no limitation in Him. And my friend, He is not hindering you. He's not limiting you. He's very loving. He's kind. He's compassionate. He's gracious. And He is abundant. And He's freely giving you of all things to enjoy. He freely gives. He wants you to be blessed. Are you doing the things that deserve the blessing? Are you putting the proverbial seed in the ground, watering it and tending to it? Or are you setting aside and just waiting for God to plant it for you, waiting for God to water it for you, waiting for God to tend to it for you, waiting for God to harvest it for you? But I'll tell you quite frankly, He does not reward indolence. Everybody wants to talk about work-life balance and all this stuff and pretend like they're some spiritual being because they're sitting around waiting on God, when God tells you to act. He tells you to work. He tells you 6 days shall you work. There's nothing wrong with work. Work's not a curse. Work's not part of the curse of the law even. There was working by the sweat of your brow and with thorns and thistles, yes. That was part of the curse. But work came before the curse. Work's a blessing. It is ennobling, and it is something that you need to be actively participating in. Not just because of the rewards you get for it, but because it is part of being like God. Remember when Jesus was accused of doing things on the Sabbath, and He said, "My Father works." My friend, that's your example. Your Father's working. He is putting in work. He's doing things. He's creative and creating. You, my friend, should be putting in work as well. Should be creating, should be doing new things, finding things out, inventing new things, writing poetry, writing books, creating art, building houses, growing crops, whatever it may be. Something productive and active that shows forth the goodness and blessings and loving kindness of God in your life. My friend, God's loving kindness is excellent, and it is always towards you. I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.